Okay. Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
Oh, God. He's pushing buttons today.
Oh, no, you broke the stream deck.
I
can't push any
break
buttons.
the scream deck. Honestly, blaming me for everything now.
It's because of you I'm losing my hair.
No, it's not because of me. It's because of your grandfather.
Hello?
That's not my fault.
And it's because of me you're losing your hair.
No, it's because of me. It's this color.
Ah, you're welcome. Looks good.
It does look good. I'm getting there. Lots of purple shampoo. That's what it is.
Purple shampoo.
Hi, guys. I hope you're having a good morning. He's being a little bit of a today. I'm trying to keep our PG rating.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Or good afternoon. Yeah, because we're afternoon. It's been a bit of the last couple of weeks have been a little rocky. We had a minor catastrophe here last weekend. It seems that some trees overgrew on our property and infiltrated the sewage line going off of our house and out to the main sewer, and it backed up into the lower level of our house, which is where my studio is. So we had difficulty getting a plumber, first of all, and then when we did get one, so we went 3 days with water backing up into the laundry room. It didn't actually make it into the studio, thank God. But it wasn't the most pleasant thing to tolerate. So we finally got that mess all cleaned up and got the carpeting torn out of the laundry room and whatnot. So we still have some work to do in there, but the moisture is gone, the water is gone, the drains are all working the way they're supposed to, and life is getting somewhat back to what we laughingly describe as normal. And then I developed tendonitis in both hands. So it's not been an easy thing getting artwork done. I've been doodling mostly, haven't really been painting a whole lot, but I did have some deadlines, so I had to get a few things finished. And so that's why I'm so far behind this week. It's not funny. So I apologize for that I didn't get the pattern up as early as I like to. I didn't get up until last night. So it's just been one of those weeks. So as you can see, I'm armed. I'm armed. I have. So if I'm going to paint or play today, I figure it'd be a good idea to wear the braces so that I don't suffer the tortures of the damned later on. So that's been my week. Renee's has been interesting. He's been working, and he got to see the Mcteer that arrived at the gallery this week and a few other things. There's some really interesting stuff going on at the gallery. So he's been regaling me with that. I haven't been down to the gallery yet this year, so I'm kind of anxious to get there, but I will
wait till it opens.
I'm going to wait till it opens because I'm excited about that.
Well, it's open for public viewing, but not much is out.
No. Well, our gallery just recently underwent some major renovations, so and they're still undergoing renovations. So there's a lot of stuff going on in there. I'm really excited about it because it's for our small city. It is a first-rate gallery. It is. They have some beautiful and very valuable pieces of artwork there. So I'm anxious to see the official reopening. It's going to be beautiful. We do have a shout out for today, and it's to my girl Sandy Mcteer. Sandy's got an awesome website over there. She at sandymcteerdesigns.com, and she was so generous this week. She gave us a coupon code for you guys. So if you need to pick up any supplies from Sandy, and I'm going to make a couple of recommendations because she's got some great stuff, but there's a couple of things she has on her site that I absolutely love, and I think that you guys should have one. And so she has a coupon code for you, and it's Tracy M, all capital letters. So if you're going to order anything from her, use that coupon code, please. So go and check it out. There's two things I want you to go and have a look at. She's got some great stamps on there from Tim Holtz. I'm just a wee bit obsessed. Wee bit.
Edward.
Oh, by the way, today is Edward's wedding anniversary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, a happy anniversary to Edward.
Yes.
Speaking of
And Sean.
anniversaries.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Speaking of anniversaries. And before I get totally off topic again, she's got some great Tim Holtz stamps over at sandymcteer.com. I'm obsessed with Tim Holtz stamps right now. Just so you give an idea. I'm a wee bit obsessed with Tim Holtz stamps right now. I love them. And this bin is fabulous for storing stamps. I found this at Michael's. It's actually a card storage bin, and I loved it so much for the stamps that I went and I got 2 more for my stencil. So I have all my M square stencils in one, and then I put all of my collage stencils in one. So if you're at Michael's, go and grab one of those. They're fantastic. The other thing that Sandy's got on her website that I highly, highly recommend is this thing, this Heat It tool. Freaking awesome. Dries paint so quick, and it doesn't blow stuff all over the place. So if you're working with glitter, if you're working with embossing powders and whatnot, this isn't going to blow them all over the place. But it's also so quiet. You need one of these. They're fantastic. And Sandy has lots of them on her website right now. They're not that easy to find these days, so Sandy's got them. And if you're going to get yourself one, use the coupon code TracyM. So that's my shout out this week to my gal Sandy. And what else?
Back to the anniversary thing.
Right, back to the anniversary thing. See, tells you where my brain is. Today is actually officially 2 years to the day since we started doing these lives.
Yay.
2 years to the day. So we have, because of that, we have some special giveaways.
I need an applause button.
You need an applause button. Can we get that onto the thingy?
Yeah, if you
The
didn't
stream
break
deck? I didn't break it. Honestly.
Yes, I could put both a audience track and a laugh track on that.
Oh, good. I think we should have both as soon as we get it fixed.
As soon as I fix it.
As soon as you fix it. So today we have 5 giveaways.
Sandy's on.
Hi, Sandy.
Power just came back on.
Oh, no.
Thanks
Storms
for the
in the
shout
air. You're very welcome, honey. So we have 5 giveaways today. We have 3 sets of Dynasty Black Gold brushes, and they include 2 rakes, a fountain brush, and a Fandango. Everybody loves the Fandango. So we have 3 sets of those to give away. Of course, they're going to come in a nice little pouch because I'm a big fan of little pouches to store your stuff in. I've also included one of Tombo's new black erasers. I'm in love with their black eraser. It's so awesome. It's just a great tool. So that has been included in there. So you've got some goodies. And then I have 2 more goodies. So you're getting a pouch, getting a paintable tote bag, and then in the pouch is one of my Tombow mechanical pencils, one of my mono knock erasers, and one of the mono black erasers from Tombow, plus some other little goodies and whatnot in there. We have some really cool little brush cleaners as our giveaways, our little freebies this month. So we have something really nice for you. So we have 2 of those to give away. Estimated value of the 2 prizes from with the Tombow and the tote bags is about $35. And the Dynasty brush sets with the pencil kit and some of the other goodies that are in there, it's about $25. So we've got some nice giveaways today, 5 of them. So don't forget, hit the share button on this video, and that will get you entered in the drawings.
Share, like, subscribe.
Yep, hit all the buttons. Hit all the things. All
Except
the things.
the dislike one.
Yeah, don't hit the
Even though it works the same as the like button.
It's much nicer if we hit the like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. Unless you don't like the video, then go ahead, click dislike.
And
you.
we had today we're going to cover 2 things. We're actually going to paint Marché aux Fleurs. It's actually a partner to another pattern. The mate to this pattern will be available through SDP. And it is an exclusive pattern through SDP. It's part of a fundraising program. So this one is available on my website. The mate to it will be available through SDP once they release it. So
no frowny face.
No frowny faces. And aside from that, I've been wanting to show you guys how to make your own collage papers because there's some really beautiful collage papers on the market. but some of them can really run into a lot of money. They can get very expensive. And with shipping the way it is, it's hard. I know it's really hard to justify the expense of some of this stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to show you how to create your own that is completely custom. It's going to be exactly what you want. It's going to have the themes that you want. You'll be able to do all kinds of fun things with it. So I thought that that's how we would start today, with doing a little bit of collage paper. And it's also a nice little segue into, if you get a chance, hop onto Facebook and go check out some of the pictures that people have been posting. Somebody posted today one of the collage pieces that patterns that we did with the tulip and the daffodil, and I forget what the other one is. Anyway, we used a collage paper in the background, did a whitewash over top of it, and then we had this spring floral piece. And one of the girls had taken a lamp base and did it on each side of the lamp. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So if you get a chance, pop onto either Create with Tracy Moreau, or if you're part of the membership group, go to the membership page and go and have a look. The lamp is flippin' amazing. For the life of me, my brain is just not going there today. I was so entranced by the pictures, I forgot to look to see who had posted it. So if it's you, mwah, beautiful work. It looks phenomenal.
Janet Roche.
Janet Roche. Yes. Absolutely beautiful piece.
There you go.
Beautiful piece. I was so excited about it. My brain just isn't functioning today.
Oh, there she is on Facebook.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was me.
That was beautiful work, Janet. Beautiful work. So we're going to, this isn't going to take a whole lot of time, but I wanted to show you a fun way to create your own collage paper with stuff you already have at home. So if you guys are ready to get started, so am I.
Are you?
I are.
Okay. We're here.
We're here. Okay. Gee. So I have just some plain old copy paper.
Autofocus is being a brat. Give me a second.
Is it? This is just a plain old-fashioned copy paper. You know, the stuff you pick up at Staples. And this is what we're going to create with it.
Give me 1 second.
So here is our collage paper. Pretty neat. And this is what it looks like when it's on. So I made collage paper, and then I just decoupaged it right onto my surface to create my background. So it's super simple. Now, I have a couple of suggestions when you're doing this kind of thing, because there's some fun ways to do this. So I have my my copy paper, and then I'm going to grab my basket full of stamps, because, you know, I can't have just a few. I've got alphabet stamps in a variety of sizes that you can use. It's a good idea to have a couple of acrylic blocks if you can get your hands on them. I have one. I've got a stamp already stuck on it. And then I have my grunge set, the crackle, and my vintage note stamp. I like to have, you know, a butterfly. I know Sandy has those. And then I've got a few acrylic blocks. I just picked these up at a local dollar store. But any stationery store, any paper crafting store, Michael's, you can get them almost anywhere. Just these acrylic blocks to hold some of your stamps. And then, of course, you got to have those fun ones. And then a selection of your favorite stamps. I got this one. I love this. Just have a few of them kicking around so that you have something to use. So I've got a great little pile of stamps here. Now, you can use acrylic paint, or you can use a stamp pad for this. I'm going to be using just a stamp pad, but I'm also going to use some acrylic paint. But the other thing you want to have handy is perhaps a couple of your favorite stencils. And I'm pretty sure you guys already knew that this was going to be one of the ones that was going to show up. Was going to be Harlequin, because I use that a lot. I was tempted to grab polka dots, because I like polka dots. And then, of course, this cancellation stamp, because I am just, you know, obsessed with postage stamps. So I'm going to move some of these out of my way. And I have a palette paper. I'm going to put a little bit of black paint on my palettes. And I'm going to grab a stencil brush. Because this art is so fun. Grab one that's clean. There we go. So I got a stencil brush. I'm going to start with a little bit of pattern. I do like pattern. And I'm going to load up my stencil brush, just like I would if I was going to be doing this on a painted surface. And I don't necessarily want them fully solid, nor do I necessarily want them complete. Complete doesn't really matter. I'm not doing the whole stencil either. I'm just going to do a portion of it. And yeah, it looks a little meh, but it gives you a nice effect when you take the stencil away. So we've got sort of an incomplete, some are solid, some not so much. And then I'm going to move the stencil and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And maybe even less, like so. I kind of like that. And then I'll take my other stencil. Now I like to come off the page a little bit because I just find it makes things a bit more interesting. And again, this can be, quite solid in some places, less so in others. It can be incomplete, doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be tidy. And so it looks solid and then faded a little bit. Let's pull a little bit over here. I kind of like the idea of not having it straight either. And again, I'm not really worried about whether or not they're perfect or complete. Doesn't matter. There, I like that. And then you can pull other elements in. I like this. This is a great stencil, or stamp, sorry. I really like this one. This is the crackle that's in the grunge set. So I'm just going to take a stamp pad and load it up. And I'm not worried about whether or not I'm using the whole stamp because it doesn't matter. I kind of like that it's incomplete. And you can use as much or as little as you want. That's entirely up to you. So I like that. And then I'm going to put a little bit down here. And I like that they're kind of distressed and imperfect. I would much rather have them interesting. So this is my vintage note. I love this one. It's my favorite. I think everybody knows that one by now because I use it so much. Now, instead of thinking of this as individual design elements, start thinking of them as a part of a whole so that you stamp right over top of where you've been before. So it just becomes a layer and it makes things so much more interesting. So, and I like that. Don't worry if they get smudged or moved around a little bit. Don't worry if they're incomplete because it doesn't matter. I kind of like it to look like there's some continuity, but there we go. I like that. And then I've got, this one is also in the grunge set. And there's a stencil in the grunge set. I don't know if a lot of you realize that within the grunge set, there's a stencil, has a really pretty brocade pattern in it. That would also be fabulous in the background for one of these. So I'm just going to get my stamp loaded up. I really like this curly Q one. And I think I'm going to pull a little more of that over here, like so. And the idea is just to continue filling in some of the space, little by little. It's coming together. I'm liking this. I love this. This one is also in the grunge set. This one has got a nice pattern. This one's a little more rigid because of those vertical and horizontal lines that are established in it. So push that over top. Ooh, I like that. And then the signature block, that is in that grunge set as well. That's why I love the grunge set, because it has so many different elements in it and none of them are the same. So they have some interest. Let's put that signature block in here. So you can see we filled up this space quite nicely, but yet it doesn't look busy because we're overlapping other things. I'm going to pull this one more time, but I'm going to put it right here. I really like that signature, that scripty. There we go. And I don't know about you, but I really think that it needs a butterfly or a bumblebee, something like that. And I just realized that I forgot about my Happy Meal, because I did get Happy Mail this week. So here's my butterfly. Where do I want my butterfly? I think my butterfly is going to go right here. Now I'm going to grab my acrylic block, because I want this butterfly to be quite clear. Ooh, I like that. So the butterfly has filled that in nicely. Now, you know, I'm going to have a cancellation stamp in there. This one actually came out of a dollar store set that I found that I thought was quite fun. And then I've got, of course, I've got this one. And we got to have that little one in there. I don't know what it is about cancellation stamps, but I'm moderately obsessed. So I'm coming back to the Happy Mail thing. A bestie, Deb, sent me this great set. She's got them on her website. And I fell in love with this one because it's got great cancellation stamps in it, but it's also got the little butterflies and the tiny little flowers, the bumblebee and whatnot. So it's got some nice little, tiny little design elements that I just loved. So I'm going to pop one of these out and use it, because I'm thinking I need something right in there. So, and I got another acrylic block. Let me grab my acrylic block. So, I love this one. This one's got a great shape. So let's try that one. And I'll load that up. I think just fun. Look at this. Whoop. Oh, I like that a lot. I think it needs to be repeated. So you just continue on with, you know, a variety of things. We started with a butterfly. Let's do this little butterfly. This is just such a great little set.
I'm back.
So I'm going to load that up. Oh, it's a cute little butterfly. So we got the big butterfly up there. So let's tuck the little one in right there. Oops, I didn't have enough.
Okay, what did I miss? I missed a bunch.
Did you miss a bunch? Okay, there we go. I didn't have enough ink on the first one, but that's okay. So it's going to work in there. And then there's this really cool cancellation stamp.
Of course, it's a cancellation stamp.
Deb sent me this gorgeous little set. It's awesome. So this is a really nifty one. So I'm going to plop that on there. And I'm going to load it up because I know exactly where this one's going. It's going right here. Ta-da! So we got lots going on in here. We could also do perhaps a little more overlap, but I think it's fine the way it is. Now, once you have your paper filled and you're happy with it, here's the suggestion I'm going to make. Take your original copy and go to your photocopier, your laser printer, your like local office supply place, and make yourself a few copies of it. And that way you always have your original. You can tuck it away for later use if you really like what you've done. And then just run yourself off a few copies. Now I did some on colored paper because now you don't even have to base coat. So for journaling, for scrapbooking, for I could see Sandy Mcteer doing something like this on colored paper. I just think that her stuff in her journals would be flippin' amazing.
Deb's website is paintingwithdeb.ca.
Yes. So this little set that Deb sent me is just so stinking cute and so versatile with all of these different, I'm obsessed with cancellation stamps because I bet you I have 10 stamp sets with them and it's still not enough because I still find more I like. But yeah, and then it has all these little elements in there that are just, they're awesome. Tuck little flowers in. You could have so much fun with these. It's a great little set, so go and check out Deb's website for that.
There's a good question. You seem to always use black ink. Are there other colors? And
Great question.
Chat's moving.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
It's a great question. There are so many different colors of ink available. I use the Stays On black ink because I tend to gravitate towards the black. However, when I want a color, I use my little mini brayer and some acrylic paint. So I can choose any color I want if I choose to make a color.
There you go.
So, yes. But commercially, I think I probably have about 10 or 15 colors of stamp pads in my collection back there. There's all kinds of colors from rainbows to blues, reds, yellows. I mean, everything you can imagine. Metallics, glow in the dark. There's stamp pads that for emboss with it. And it's simple. But if you wanted to change the color, say you wanted to go to a sepia tone, roll a little bit of asphaltum out on your palette and load your stamp with the mini brayer.
Boom.
And then you can do a sepia tone. And then you can make color copies with it if you wanted to. So there's tons of ways that you can put that one little grunge set or a few little mismatched stamps that you have in your collection to use to create some really awesome backgrounds. So,
and Sandy just provided you with a Amazon link.
Cool.
To get all sorts of stuff.
There you go. So this is all done. This nifty little background here is all done just using copy paper and a few stamps and stencils that you already have in their arsenal. And then by making copies of it, then you have that same pattern for future projects. So oodles of things that you can do.
Oodles.
Oodles. And how pretty is that? So you could change this from diamonds to polka dots to snowflakes. You could customize this for Christmas. You could do all kinds of things with this, just with stamps and stencils that you already have in your stash. And then I'm going to come away from this for a second. And again, on copy paper, I did this with a Tim Holtz stamp. But I wanted to show you how I went from this on copy paper to this. So this looks like craft paper. It's not. It's actually just copy paper. I washed it with a little bit of asphaltum. And if you're looking for the video for this, I do believe it's up on...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The video for this one is up on the YouTube channel. But this is a super simple way to create a really awesome background. I took that grunge set and the stamps and stencils in the background for this, and then just used a stamp and some copy paper and a little bit of paint to create this little detail that's down at the bottom. It is not difficult to do. Super easy, and it's a great way to customize something. So, although this would have been pretty with just the daisy on that black background, it gets elevated a little by using this little bit of collage paper. Ooh. Just homemade stuff that you've done at home.
Does this work well with vellum?
You can do this with vellum. The one thing I will say that I will suggest when you're working with vellum, I find the ink takes a long time to dry on vellum and it tends to smear. So I like taking acrylic paint onto vellum. The other option is to create it on copy paper and then photocopy it onto vellum.
There you go.
So there's lots of alternatives, but this is a really cool way to add lots of extra oomph to some of your backgrounds and some of your artwork. Even designs that perhaps another designer did or that you created on your own. Just go rifling through your stamps and your stencils, a little bit of acrylic paint, a little bit of Stays On stamp pad, and just go to town, experiment a little bit just on some inexpensive copy paper and see what you come up with, because you can really get some out of this world collage papers. And I like the idea of making photocopies of them because then I can keep them for later on instead of trying to constantly replicate. So it's an easy way to create a new stash for yourself.
Why would you waste coffee or tea?
Tea?
Yeah.
Dyeing the paper? Absolutely.
Yeah, but that seems like a waste.
No.
You drink
did
coffee.
not.
You drink the coffee.
Tea dyeing. Coffee dyeing.
But
onion skin is another one. It's a really great. Boiling onion skin and using it.
Especially red onions.
Mm-hmm.
You get that purple in there.
Mm-hmm. It's a really easy way to tea dye things. So hopefully you guys get something out of this. One of the things that I really love to see this done on is craft paper. You know, so just keep those brown paper bags, and you've got lots of craft material for all sorts of fun things.
That was Patrick's question. Could you also submerge the printed paper into coffee or tea to get the vintage quality of the image?
Yeah, if it's a laser copy, absolutely. Even with the stamp, yes, because this particular stamp pad is water resistant. So,
what is the dregs of coffee?
Coffee grounds.
Oh, yeah, you could use coffee grounds.
Yep.
I don't have leftover coffee.
It's like leftover wine. Who has leftover wine? Okay, so I've got my stamps. Made such a mess here, it's not funny.
You've built yourself a craft fort.
I have. I'm literally behind a wall of craft supplies. Like, it's a bad thing. So, I'm going to...
Do you have a code for the carrier for your stamps at Michael's?
That's an excellent question.
I don't think we do have
I don't have a code. You mean like a coupon code or an item number? Oh, Jesus. Spider. Sorry, spider. I hate spiders.
You okay?
No, my heart's going a mile a minute. I hate spiders. Oh. It was hiding in the pile of paper. Oh, Jesus, Mary.
You good?
I'll live. I hate spiders.
Do we need the AED?
You might. Good grief. Oh, I hate spiders.
Do you seal it when putting it onto your piece?
Yes, you're going to use a little bit of matte medium over top. Let me tidy up here a little bit.
What is leftover wine?
Exactly my point. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. There's several products on the market that are excellent for applying this type of thing to backgrounds. My personal favorite, I have two, is this one, matte medium, the Deckwort medium matte medium. This one is my all-time favorite because of the finish it leaves behind. It's a dead flat, gives you a beautiful paintable surface. It's not slick, it's not slippery. It'll take paint like a dream. So I really love working with this matte medium. That does not mean that you are limited to using just this brand. You can use a number of different brands, and there are lots of them available. Almost every major paint manufacturer out there for the art industry makes a matte medium. So don't be afraid to experiment with them. If you can't get this one, try a different one. They will all work. Another medium you can use is decoupage. And again, I like Decwort's decoupage in the dead matte. It's a dead flat finish. It does tend to be a little bit slippery, but it still takes paint like a dream. So that is my other favorite. There is a medium gel, a gel medium that you can use as well. This one dries a little shiny. This is the gloss. This is a heavy gel medium. But again, almost every major paint manufacturer makes their own version of this. And it does come in a variety of sheens. So you can get it in a matte, you can get it in a gloss. I kind of like the gloss because it dries with a little bit of tooth. And then I can glaze over top of it. And it creates some really interesting textures. But you can do all of this with this type of a medium as well. So don't be afraid to go looking through if the one you're looking for isn't available. And say Liquitex has one or Golden has one. Don't be afraid to try them because they will work. They will do the job. They are designed specifically for doing that type of thing. So don't be afraid to try them. And let's face it, paint's only wasted if it stays in the jar. So
that is true.
it is very true. I absolutely love this matte medium though. This one, it just gives you such a great finish. And now this one, I used matte medium on the surface first. And then I sprayed my paper. I just gave it a light misting. And what that does is it allows the paper to stretch a little. So when it is moist, laid it into the wet matte medium. Took my little brayer, rolled it out so that it eliminates all those bubbles and blisters, ripples, etc. Forces out the excess matte medium, anything that isn't necessarily required. And then I set it aside to dry. And as it dries, the paper shrinks, and so you end up with a nice, tight, smooth finish. Once it's dry, I use my sanding block or my sanding sponge to sand the paper away at the edges, down and away. And then I put a coat of matte medium over top of it. And then I set it aside to dry. And then what you're left with is this nice, smooth surface that is ready for paint, ready for color. And from that point, you can do whatever your heart desires. So super easy way to make your own collage papers that generate lots of interest, lots of pattern, lots of movement, and then you can customize them to whatever design you plan on doing. So hopefully that helps.
That's a panel, correct?
This is just an artist cradle. I got this at Michael's. A little 6x6, I think it is.
They were wondering if it was a canvas square.
You can actually do this on canvas too.
Oh, there you go.
It will adhere to a canvas. My suggestion is to apply a couple of good coats of gesso on it first.
Just to stiffen up the canvas?
Just to make the canvas a little more rigid. And then everything else remains the same.
Cool. There we go.
So, super easy way.
Make sure you guys are sharing and liking the video. Get entered to win some great prizes, actually.
Really great.
We got
the tote bags are paintable. They're my 2 skull bags.
Ah, yes, the skull bags.
Mm-hmm. So they're fun. Lots of flowers, lots of skulls.
Could you fit a human skull in it?
Yes.
Perfect. I mean...
Yeah, you could.
Oh, you should tell that story about the human skull going through TSA. That is a funny story.
Oh my god.
It was an acrylic skull, just to let everybody know.
It was, yes. But it looked very real. Apparently.
Give you a chance to finish your line drawing and tell the story at the same time.
I have a tendency to seem to find myself in a variety of situations when I travel. And I'm not sure how that is or why that is, but I end up in some rather unusual situations. Thankfully, none of them really dangerous, but some of them definitely questionable. I was traveling with Deb from southern Alberta to Seattle. And of course, we were on our annual Hobby Lobby tour. And we had hit Hobby Lobby. We had been to the Crafters Warehouse. We had been to all these things. And we decided that we were going to stop for something to eat. And she was looking for a Starbucks. And the only one we could find was at a local Target. So we decided to go shopping in Target for a few hours. And while we were in there, we located the Halloween display. And if you've never been in a Target store in the U.S., their Halloween displays are spectacular. And I absolutely love them. So as I'm walking through their Halloween display, I come across a very realistic skull. Very realistic. And I couldn't help myself. I had to buy it. So I bought the skull and I put it in the bag, and we went on our way and did the whole Hobby Lobby tour, did the show in Seattle, and then made our way back. And I get to the airport in Calgary because we had to go back to Alberta for another convention. And when I got to the airport in Calgary and I was heading home, I was going through airport security. And they put my bag through the x-ray machine. And I was afraid that the skull would get broken. So I put it in my carry-on with a plate that I also did not want to get broken. And sirens went off, bells went off, alarms went off, couldn't figure out why. And when I came through the scanner on the other side and I saw the screen, all I see is a skull on a platter. And the woman behind TSA looks at me and says, "Is this your bag?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Follow me, please." So they take me over to a secure section. And I was informed that there was something in my bag. Would I care to tell them what it was? And I said, yes, it's a Italian piece of ceramic flatware and a replica of a human skull. There's dead silence. Dead silence. Nobody wanted to open the bag. None of them wanted to open the bag. So eventually, somebody got around to doing it and unwrapped the skull from the bubble wrap that it was in. And now they're informing me that it is illegal to transport human remains. And it's when I informed them that it wasn't a real skull that the word replica actually meant that it was a replica of a real skull. They didn't appreciate my humor. And so they were checking it out, seriously checking it out. And then that's when I showed them the stamp in the bottom that said "Made in China." So
my question is, if anybody took it as like it was a person from China.
You know what? At that point, I'm thinking they were really worried that perhaps they had come across, the second or third female serial killer in history. Who knew? But
I think there's a lot more than.
Oh, there probably is. We're just better at hiding it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
So yes, if you enjoy stressful and often very humorous situations when traveling, join me. I manage to find them quite often.
What was it?
Don't even go there.
I think I see a clue about how you get into trouble. You and Deb are together. Yeah?
I believe me, I don't need to have Deb with me to get into trouble.
No, she can do that all on her own.
I'm quite adept. I don't even have to leave the province. I can do that in Walmart.
You can do that from the comfort of your own home.
That is quite true, yeah. I can get into trouble with very little effort.
JL is asking, do you just start painting immediately on the tote bags with Americana paints, or do you need a special paint for the fabric?
No, absolutely not. You don't need a special paint for fabric. Americana paints will stick beautifully to fabric, as is evidenced by most of my clothing. If you want washable, soft fabric, then by all means use a fabric medium. If you want it to really hold up over years and years of wear, then a fabric medium is a good idea. Or even a specialty fabric paint. But for items like that tote bag, working on canvas, or in this particular case, nylon, just using Americana paint, it will work just beautifully.
Any pre-treating required?
Just make sure it's clean and flat.
There you go.
So, make sure it's ironed so that you're not having to paint over wrinkles. If you're going to wash it to prepare the fabric, don't use any fabric softener or dryer sheets. Those things actually put wax in the fabric, and then the paint doesn't stick as well. So just wash it. Good detergent, no fabric softeners, no specialty products of any kind, and then you're ready to go. Iron it so that it's nice and flat. Paint to your heart's content.
Debbie Matthews says, tried taking vanilla protein powder in a sandwich bag through TSA. Talk about bells and whistles going off.
Try doing it with
cornstarch.
10-ounce bag of cornstarch. I did that. Didn't know I did that. Yes. And unfortunately, much like my son, I have a tendency to be a bit of a smartass in stressful situations, so I tend to say things that I probably shouldn't. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And to people I probably should not say them to. So, like large police officers.
Yeah. Like when when traveling for a certain organization within the military, you travel armed.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to travel armed and in civilian clothing.
Yep.
And you have to go find the closest RCMP officer or local police officer to help you go through security.
Yep.
I couldn't find one, and my flight was leaving. So I found the most senior supervisor I could find at said airport and told them that I had a firearm. It was loaded. And what would you, how do you want to proceed? I have to catch my flight. The look on their face was, you have a what?
Yeah.
I have a firearm. It is loaded. It's ready. How do we proceed? Yeah, that
Probably should have told them that you were military.
the next question was,
Why?
where are you going? I would like to go to my flight. Followed up by 3 very large police officers coming up with the follow me attitude. Okay. I went looking for these officers earlier, couldn't find them, but they just magically appeared this time.
That's what you should have done. Just stand in the middle of the airport, hold the gun up, and see what happens.
Yeah. And a 4th time, I had to repeat myself about the firearm on my person was, I have a gun, just to simplify it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that escalated.
Yeah, quickly. Yeah. Yay, I think. Nope. I am so behind the 8 ball today.
Yeah, when they finally got my boarding pass and they realized, oh, this is a military flight.
Yeah. Duh.
Duh. He's not going to hurt anybody on there. Well, no, because everybody that's going to be on that plane is also going to be armed.
Yep, everybody on this plane is a gun.
Okay, have a nice day. Off I go. Bypass security completely.
Yep, thank you for flying Air Canada.
Don't get me wrong. I respect their job, but sometimes they take it a little too seriously.
Sometimes. Yeah. But you know what? The one time they didn't would be the time that it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Renee, this is the one time you should listen to your mother.
The one time?
The one time? No, I have many stories. How about the, what was it, 25-year-old in a shopping cart with bunny ears?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yes.
Highly
Renee
entertaining.
is nothing if not entertaining.
I still want to be pushed around in a shopping cart.
Yeah. 170 pounds and...
I'm not 170 pounds. I'm 160.
Okay.
Am I 170 pounds? No, you got me subconscious.
Not subconscious, self-conscious.
Self-conscious.
So,
I'm insecure.
yeah, well, you know.
I'm not insecure. I'm
The
outgoing.
institution lets them out every once in a while.
I'm an introvert with outrovert tendencies.
Extrovert.
Extrovert.
What's with you today?
I don't know.
So, this is the bin I
Outrovert.
was talking about at Michael's. It's a card keeper, they call it. I got tired of having this mass of stencils that kept snagging on each other and whatnot. And they're small stencils, the M square. And this is just flippin' perfect. Because now I can categorize them. So I've got, dots, checks, and diamonds are all together in here. Shape makers are up front because I use those all the time. Background stencils, elegant stencils, Seasonal, butterflies, bats, things like that. Those are all in there. Then I've got all my vintage, anything with postage on it goes in there. And then in the back, I've got all the floral stencils. So anything with a floral theme goes in there. So all beautifully labeled and everything. And oh my gosh, what a difference. And it keeps them organized. Not clean, because God knows I don't clean my stencils as often as I should. But these things just work like a hot damn. So I can literally just take my stencils and drop them back into their appropriate spot. Neat and tidy. Love it. Love it. And it's got a handle.
Renee, making up your own words and meanings? Yes.
Yes. And then I did the same thing for all of my collage stencils. So I have them organized in here as well. Oh, this one is stiff. My hands don't work. So I have all of my stencils organized in here. My lace doilies, my collage stencils, whatnot, and then miscellaneous stencils, of course, and then DIY stencils, etc. Those are all in there, and they fit in there perfectly. And I love that those little dividers can be moved. So if you've got more of one type, you can move them around a little bit. So
I think she said she got it from Michael's.
yeah, these were from Michael's. They were $14.99. They're fantastic.
There you go. Go get
Love
them.
it. I like things to have a place, and that worked perfectly. So this one is Marché aux Fleurs. What that means is the flower market. I'm kind of obsessed with flower market. I don't know why, because I've got like 4 designs.
Patrick's not happy.
Why is Patrick not happy?
You have the accent going the wrong way.
Accent aigu or accent grave? Marché? It's the same one as yours. René?
I don't know. I don't think Patrick's happy.
Or is it Marché aux Fleurs? Correct me.
But again, you could be going by like the French Canadian way.
No, I don't think that French is French, so I don't think that.
And French is not just French. You and I both know this.
That is true. I did not write this in Czech, so that's not it.
Oh,
So
okay.
now it's
Sorry
con-
for being the irritating French person, but to seem more authentic for the word marché, the acute accent should be above the E, not after.
Oh, yes. Yes, you are right. You know what it is. I had to put it in afterwards, and I didn't think of that.
Uh-oh. Patrick is correct.
He is correct. Thank you, Patrick. I would rather be wrong and fix it than... So,
For viewers in Europe, I have found something equivalent to Amazon France.
lovely.
Oh.
Et voilà. C'est correct, Patrick? C'est vrai? There. I am not about... If I make a mistake, by all means. See? That's the Anglophone trying to do something French. I put the accent. It was going the right way, just in the wrong spot.
She fixed it.
I bet I fixed it. It's a simple little thing.
J'ai réparé.
Yep. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Patrick.
Ah, my chat's not working again.
Did you lose your chat?
I gotta refresh it. I lost chat. Sorry, guys.
Oh, got mine. Louisiana French is another French entirely.
Yup.
You are not wrong about that. The area that we live in New Brunswick, we're considered one of the only truly bilingual provinces in the country. But we have probably 3 different types of French here.
Chiac, Acadien,
Yeah, there's Czech, Acadien, and Brayon.
and Breon, yeah.
Yeah. So we have all 3 of them, and they all have their own little quirks, believe you me. Chiac is...
Franglish.
It's not even Franglish. I'm not sure what it is. It's Franglais. That's
It's
what
Franglais.
it is. It's Franglais. And then Acadien is similar to Cajun, I suppose, the Cajun French, or what's the word they use down there?
Eh?
What is the word they use in Louisiana?
Patois or Creole?
Creole.
Yeah.
But Creole is actually a combination of French and the native Indian.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, because you can also have a Haitian Creole and a Haitian Patois. So
that's right. So
there's good luck.
Yep. You have
I'm gonna
fun.
stick to English because English is no, that's not right.
Have you been to Newfoundland?
You've been to Newfoundland, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia,
New Brunswick. We all have our own quirks.
the UK, Irish, Scottish, Australian.
Gets interesting real
It gets
quick.
interesting around the world.
Yeah. How many ways we can damage a language.
It's like Spanish. There's different types of Spanish. There's different types of
Yep.
Italian. I didn't realize there was 7 or 8 dialects of Italian.
Oh, don't even go there with German.
Yeah. So, everybody has to be different. Can we just have a universal language?
I thought we did. So I'm going to start with a little bit of warm white, because I need to get. We need to take care of these flowers.
I was just trying to do some humor here. That's what he was just. He was just trying to be funny. He wasn't actually trying to correct you. He knew what you meant by that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it look better with it above? And
It doesn't really matter.
could be a design choice too. You could have gotten away with that.
I probably could have, but I'd rather not. I designed a stencil one time, and we were using it for a class, and I had made a spelling mistake in it. And it bothered me no end.
You made a spelling mistake?
I know.
You.
Yes.
Arcadian?
Acadian.
Acadian.
Yeah. I think Arcadian is something out of Star Trek, isn't it?
Creole Cajuns are fun to listen to in Louisiana.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm using just a thin coat, and it is heavily thinned, warm white, to paint in these brown-eyed Susans.
And Tracy can do all those accents too. Yes, she can. The one that gets her in trouble, especially in Kentucky, is the Southern Belle.
Yes, that one gets me in trouble a lot.
I live in Acadia in Louisiana. Cajun French is nothing like pure French, which is beautiful. Took French in school, and my grandmother thought it was crazy when I came home speaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well, even there's we have Quebecois here.
yeah.
Now, depending on where you come from in Quebec, will decide what type of an accent you have.
Yep.
Because if you go to Montreal, people in Montreal have a very chic, very abrupt, very clean accent. Montreal is probably as close to Parisian French you're going to get in Canada, and it's still not close enough.
What brush are you using?
This one is a number 2 round. Using just a small round to stroke this in. You'll notice that I am doing this in as few strokes as possible, and always going in the same direction. I prefer to do it this way because it creates some stria in the petals. And it helps make these flowers look a little bit more realistic. Just a little. So 2 strokes, always in the same direction, working from the point out, down towards the center. Neatness doesn't count. I wanted to do this because there's a flower in here that I've probably never showed you before. And this is a very loose, it's not intended to be, hyper realistic. This is just going to be a very loose. It's a fun sign. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better if it isn't.
See, those 3 words can be mean a lot to a person.
What's that?
Oh, I'll tell you in a second.
Okay.
Especially down south, it could be used sarcastically. It could be used condescendingly. It could be used angrily. It could be used happily, and those three words are bless your heart. Yeah, they, depending on how it's said, could mean
a million different things.
Things. And I'm glad you knew exactly those three words.
Well, I usually say, well, isn't that nice? Oh, you know what? I love it when I hear that come out of Sandy. Bless your heart. Because you sit there and you look at her. She's so sweet, right? And she doesn't have a nasty bone in her body. But she does have a gift for sarcasm that it far exceeds you or I. She has an honest-to-God gift for it. I have heard her say that in traffic. Somebody pulled out in front of her and she goes, well, bless your heart. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Crystal Hendricks is got a concern, I'm guessing.
What's that?
She's wondering if you've received any of her messages that she has sent. I use the conversation bubble on your website, but have not received a
reply.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything from her.
Okay.
So we'll have to check. Somebody mentioned the other day that the conversation bubble wasn't even there on the website.
Yeah.
So, Crystal, I'm sorry that we haven't gotten back to you, but I haven't seen any of your messages, so I will have to check to see if we're having a problem with that. I did, however, process your order and shipped it out to you this week, if that was what part of your concern, but it is already on its way to you.
Pea picking.
Pea picking. Picking peas? Snap peas. Like bean picking.
No, it's a term, apparently.
Okay.
The only place I have ever heard the pea picking was the Tennessee Erie Ford.
I've never heard that expression. That's a neat one.
Pea picking. I've heard flea picking.
What? My thought for the day the other day was the hurrier I goes, the behind her I gets.
Yeah.
And it's a common expression. I know that a lot of people use it. But being from the East Coast of Canada, depending on where you're from, that expression can sound different in different places.
Bless your pea picking heart.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah. I have heard that now, comes to think of it.
Okay.
Bless your pea picking heart.
I've sent messages also, haven't heard back, just figured you were busy.
Well, I have been busy, but I check those messages daily, so I will have to have a look and see if that thing is working properly. My apologies if you're waiting for a response. I am so sorry.
Bless your heart carries a lot of meanings. Never use it sarcastically to the wrong person.
Yeah.
My G-Ma used bless your pea picking heart. Oh, if you were using it sarcastically. Okay, I gotcha. Why YouTube? No.
What did it do now?
See the blue window?
Yep.
It is saying, now would be a good time to insert an ad.
No. No.
No, I like the fact that I have control over that. Mm-hmm. But I'm not doing it. Mm-mm. I ain't doing it.
So here are my brown-eyed Susans. I've got them base coated with just one coat of warm white. You can do this with gesso too. And I'm going to use this. I love my little heat it tool. This thing is awesome. Otherwise, we'd be waiting a month of Sundays for things to dry. So I'm going to break out a little bit of Sunny Day. I love this yellow. Oops. And a little bit of Orange Flame.
Ooh.
Love that color. And we are going to need some Bahama Blue.
Okay, I found Crystal Hendricks issue. She had won a set of Tombow colored pencils during 5 or 6 lives ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was just curious if maybe they had come back in the packages you were...
Don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it's come back.
No.
No.
Colored pencils. We didn't have Tombow colored pencils.
Yes,
The drawing pencils. No, those aren't pencils.
Oh, the markers.
Markers.
Yes. Okay.
When they didn't come back, she didn't get them.
Okay.
Well, we can take care of that, Crystal.
Definitely sort that out.
Yeah, we'll get that sorted out for you.
We didn't put tracking on it, did we?
No, most of that stuff goes letter mail. We did have some stuff come back to us, but it all got repackaged and resent. So if it has gone walkabout, gone missing, we will take care of it. Not to worry. So this is nice and dry and a little warm. So we're going to base coat the petals with this with some Sunny Day. I love this yellow for a couple of reasons. One, it's a little more opaque than most yellows. I'm going to break out my fast dry glaze here. Now, the same way that we base coated with that white, we're going to go over those petals with this Sunny Day. I love this yellow. And when we have that white down, you get nice opaque coverage. Yellows are very hard to cover with, particularly over a black background. We don't want to lose all of that vibrancy, that bright sunny tone. So that's why I put that little bit of gesso down, that little bit of warm white, because it gives you all of that bright yellow over top of that black. And I love the contrast of that yellow against that black background.
Ooh. Oh, speaking of accents.
What's that?
The car accident waiting to happen when the two people from Boston heading up to Newfoundland.
Oh.
That is the funniest thing, because they're in for a culture shock.
Yeah.
And you think, and anybody who's heard Bostonians, I guess they're...
Yep, Bostonians.
Bostonians? Yeah. You know.
True Bostonians have this great, great accent. It's not an easy one to replicate.
No.
To do it well. But Newfoundlanders are a breed unto themselves. I was flying from Boston to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and there was a group of people on the flight with me. I will never forget this as long as I live. It was probably 6 or 8 people all traveling together, all obviously from Boston, sitting in front of an entire plane load of Canadians. And one, being Bostonians, they talk loud. It's okay. They're not rude. They're not rash or anything like that. They're just not really
boisterous.
Quiet. They're boisterous. And they're not really quiet. And I was sitting behind them, and the gentleman next to me was from Cape Breton, and he was heading home. And I was flying from Halifax and then coming here. And then this couple in front of me was conversing with the rest of their group, and they had this thick Boston accent. They were talking about how they were going to get off in Halifax, and they were going to board a plane and fly them into St. John's. And that when they got there, they were going to check in, and the first thing they wanted to do was go pick up a few beers. And the fellow sitting next to me and I spent the entire flight nearly choking because we were trying not to laugh at the people in front of us. Because, first of all, they were in shorts. And they were going to Newfoundland in May.
Winter's not done yet.
The icebergs haven't finished rolling by yet. And they're going like on a summer vacation, and I was just killing myself laughing. But I thought, oh my God, these people are going to Newfoundland. I can't wait to see the linguistic gymnastics that comes out. All these Bostonians and a group of Newfoundlanders, it would be worth it just to sit there. I would have paid for the flight just to go to see what happened. Because it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, because what are the Bostonians use the F word as punctuation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Newfoundland, they use it
Use
as
it as a verb.
so.
Oh my gosh.
It's there would be a language barrier.
Yeah.
But there's both speaking English.
Yeah.
That's the funny part.
Yeah. I was just killing myself laughing. This poor fellow sitting next to me from Cape Breton. Again, linguistic gymnastics. He was nearly in tears the whole trip. Because you couldn't help but overhear their conversation. It was impossible not to overhear their conversation, but it was so entertaining. They weren't disruptive. Don't get me wrong. They weren't disruptive, but it was hilarious.
Sandy Jackson says, I'm from Baston.
Baston.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
She even spelt it Baston.
Baston. Oh my God. But being Maritimers, we're accustomed to hearing accents of all sorts. Believe me. We have an accent just here in our local area.
Oh, Sandy's having major website issues.
Oh no.
So she's gonna hop off. Thanks again for the shout out.
Anytime, girlfriend.
Yeah. It always seems to be on the weekend when when doing maintenance on my site.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm going to have to go and have a look at mine, see if maybe it just needs to be reinstalled. I don't know.
Either reinstalled or just cleaned up.
It could be. But we'll get it sorted. Because that's a great little widget, having that thing on there to be able to answer. And I answer my emails daily. Actually, sometimes several times a day, depending on how many are on there.
Where I was born in southern France, the equivalent of the F word was used as punctuation too. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. So my family hails originally from Cape Breton. I have family members that are, that's where they originated. They're from currently most of my family lives either down the valley or over in Tatamagouche area. I know most people are going, Tatama what? But originally my family came from Cape Breton. What?
Sandy says, I'm about to pop off on Vistaprint. Uh-oh. Hey, Vistaprint. Duck.
There's a steam southerner heading your way.
She's going to say, bless your heart. She's going to say it, and you're going to be scared.
And if you're not, you should be.
They acquired my web host, and it's not been fun. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. She's had a lot of issues. I've had the odd issue, but usually something that can be fixed in, a matter of a couple of hours. It's never usually been anything too dramatic. So I'm just about there with all this yella.
Bless their sweet little hearts. Vistaprint. Run.
So I've got 4 bright sunny.
Cape Breton, very nice region.
It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And the people are amazing. Cape Bretoners. They're crazy. We love them.
I have come to understand something.
What's that?
When you have a house party in out west,
Yeah.
but most people either gather in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal here on the East Coast too. It's either the garage or the kitchen.
Yep. Kitchen party.
Why?
It's the heart of the home. The garage is usually in the summer. We don't usually do that in the wintertime.
No.
Christmas parties and whatnot. Well, first of all, the kitchen is where the food is.
Yeah, you don't have to go far.
It's also where all the ice is kept.
Top up your drink.
And usually your host goes in and out of there, and so people have a tendency to gravitate to it.
Yeah.
For many years, the kitchen was the largest room in the house.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know.
Kitchens just feel cozy.
Kitchens just feel cozy. Yep, that's a really good description. So I've got all my daisies in. So I'm going to break out my Heat It tool. I'll tell you, you're going to love this frickin' thing if you get one. I'm considering getting another one.
Oh, what?
Another one of these.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, make sure you order it from SandyMcteerDesigns.com.
Yeah, and use my coupon code.
And use your own coupon code. That wasn't a plug.
No, not at all.
Tracy M, all caps.
Yep.
Just saying.
So, I'm going to use asphaltum. Needed to get the paint down in one spot. So, it's empty.
Garage is usually because you're grilling?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's the outside kitchen.
Yeah, it's the outside kitchen.
Yeah, that makes
true.
sense.
So I'm going to do the centers with a little bit of asphaltum, and I'm just going to tap it in. I just want a little bit of texture, not a perfect dot. So I'm just using that same round brush and just tapping in some asphaltum to create that little textured center in our flower. I just make sure I come right up to the edges of those petals so that they look connected, so they're not just floating there. Brown-Eyed Susan, it's similar to painting a daisy. You're just using a slightly different color palette. And I don't know what it is about Brown-Eyed Susans, but they just look so happy. Just such a happy flower. I thought these would be appropriate for this. So I'm going to dry this really quickly. I just don't want to drag asphaltum all over my flower. The color I'm going to use next is a little bit of orange flame. I love this orange for flowers, especially yellow flowers, because I find it just gives you a nice little punch of heat. And it's a nice contrast to that soft yellow, but it also draws the eye towards the center of the flower, which I really like. I'm going to make sure that's nice and dry. Now I'm going to be using a 3/8 angle for this. And I'm going to tip load just a tiny little bit of that orange flame, and I'm going to blend it out really well because I don't want this color full strength. And I'm going to do each individual petal with just a little float, a C-shaped float right at the center of the flower. I over blended it a little bit, not quite enough color left. Over blended it again. There we go. So I wanted quite dark right at the center, at the edge of that asphaltum, so that it fades out as it goes up the flower. And I'm just a little C-shaped float right at the base near the center. And I'm doing it to each individual petal because if I just go around, then it's going to have that banded look. And if I do it to each individual petal, it looks a bit more realistic. Just like that. And this is also what separates those petals. Just like that. So now I have this nice warm center. It doesn't look like a band or a stripe going around the center of it. We want to avoid that. So C-shaped float at the base of the petal. It helps separate each petal, like so. I just love how this looks. That little bit of orange just gives these flowers just a nice little punch of heat towards the center. And again, that little bit of orange draws the eye down into the middle of the flower. Just accentuates that little bit of depth, that curve in the petal. And I don't like to make them too meticulous because these petals have texture. They have stria, they have lines in them. And when you put that float in, you can see how you get that, accentuates that curve in the petals. And it just makes them look a little bit more realistic. And I love that. There we go. Pretty, pretty. Simplicity, I think, is what really works for this. It's when you start overthinking something like this and too much detail, too much putzing around with it, I think it becomes very heavy-handed looking. I like having softer, more subtle details in things. And sometimes just doing the simplest thing is often the best. And in this particular case, it's a simple flower. So why overthink it? I just want to accentuate what's already there. We went to the trouble of bending the petals so that they would look more cup-like, that they would have some depth that would draw the eye towards the center of the flower. So we're just accentuating that by putting in a little bit of color where it's needed most, just at the center of the flower. Love it. I think brown-eyed Susans and daisies, I think, are probably one of my favorite wildflowers. I love how they look. They're bright, they're happy, they're simple. It doesn't need to be too complex to look, relatively realistic. And then something as simple as just pulling a little color down like this just gives that little bit of curve a bit more realism. Not to mention it adds a nice little punch of heat and light to your So we've got our little bit of yellow in there. Now, this is something, I'm going to show you two things. I'm going to use a little bit of thinned warm white just to add a little highlight at the very tip of a few petals, just at the very tip. And it doesn't have to be much, it's just a light little wash, and it's not every petal, it's just a few. It gives it a little bit of airiness, it lightens up the flowers so they don't all look exactly the same. Now, I'm going to show you something really fun. When you're doing this type of thing, sometimes these flowers can get a little, they all look exactly alike, and they lose something when they all look precisely the same. So this is something I like doing. Take your round brush and a little bit of saffron yellow, just a little, and thin it out. We want it really thin, watery, watery. And then you're going to come to some of these petals in the back here, and you're just going to put a wash of that yellow right over top of the orange, right over top of that little bit of white. And you're instantly, and I do mean instantly, going to see a difference in your flowers. They're going to get very vibrant. It just changes them. So you can do this to all of them if you like. I actually prefer just to select a couple because it just separates them a little bit from the rest of the flowers. So I'm using just a little bit thinned saffron. I come down to this one here, I think. And it's just a thin wash. You're not putting a ton of color on there, but it does make that yellow super vibrant.
I see a lot of good morning Deb in the chat, so Deb must be here.
And caffeinated, I would imagine. Or she wouldn't be here.
Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
Yeah. Deb doesn't people until she's had caffeine. I had one of those days this week. I didn't want to people.
I didn't want to people.
I didn't. Dad come up and says, how are you this morning? I don't want to people.
Yep.
So that little bit of saffron over top of everything, it just, look at how vibrant those little daisies are. They're not dramatically different from the others. Not daisies, brown-eyed Susans. They're not dramatically different, but enough so that they have some interest. It creates a little more interest. I do love that.
You still using the same round?
I am.
Yeah.
I don't deviate too much when it comes to... There we go. So that little bit of saffron just creates a little slight differences in the flower. So they don't all feel cookie cutter, I think is the word I was looking for. It just separates them a little bit from the others.
Linda has a question.
Sure.
Going over the pattern and pattern directions,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything for the eucalyptus leaves. Am I missing it?
Could be. Because that would be my speed this week.
You might have to go over the pattern again and see if
Yeah,
you
although I was pretty sure I had it in there, but I can double check it. Absolutely.
We'll get it fixed.
It could just be mixed in with the leaves too. It may not be specific. So, what am I doing? Lights are on, nobody's home. Got distracted. So we have to accentuate the center of this flower a little bit. So we're going to do that with a little bit of lamp black. Now, unlike a daisy, we're not putting a divot in the middle.
Yeah, because it comes to a point, doesn't
Well,
it?
it's kind of flat, actually. Rounded, I guess, but it's not, there's no little divot in the middle of the flower.
Ah.
But we do need to add a little bit of a shadow, and I'm using a little bit of lamp black, and I'm coming to the front of this. And this is going to elevate the center just a little. Having that little shadow right at the front will elevate the center of this flower.
Whoa, why do I have caps lock on? I'm just getting the wheel of names ready.
Oh, good. Actually, it'd be a good time to do one of those.
Yeah, you want to do one?
Yep.
Give me a second.
So that little float of the lamp black right at the base of the flower, it just raises the center slightly visually.
The round she is using, I believe, is a Dynasty, correct?
It is Dynasty Black Gold. Just I was a bad painter, and I left it in the water bin.
Peeled off all the stuff.
And all of the enamel came off.
Oh, nope, don't want to finish that song. Get copyright stricken if I just hum that.
Uh-huh. Let's not do that again.
All right, let's go to the wheel. They can't see the wheel. Why do you not? Random name picker. Ta-da. Oh, TD. Okay.
Yuck.
Da-dum. There's the wheel. Why is it so big?
I don't know. Wow. It is big.
Shrink it down. There we go. That's a little bit more manageable. Okay. Brush set.
Yep.
Set of brushes.
They're Dynasty Black Gold. There's 2 rakes, 2 different sizes of rakes, a Fandango, and a fountain brush in there.
Boom.
Plus there's some other goodies. We always throw other goodies in.
So we got a bunch of names there. Okay, now it adjusted its size appropriately. Jeez.
So how many names have we got on there today?
157.
Nice. Thanks for sharing everything, guys.
Okay, let's do this. Oh, now it's a Galaxy S22 for $0 down and financing. Woohoo! All right, spinny, spinny.
Spinny, spinny. What have we got?
Who do we got? Click, 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 click. Sylvie Miller.
Hey. Excellent.
Sylvie.
Congratulations, Sylvie.
Okay, that is.
Ann Fogg just joined us. Hi, Ann. Hope you're well, dear.
Okay, that's Sylvie Miller. Yay! Let's do another.
Okay.
Let's go with one of the big prizes.
All right. So one of the big ones is one of my skull tote bags. And there's a pouch in there with a Tombow mechanical pencil, plus one of the Tombow mono knock erasers. And one of the mono black erasers is in there as well. Plus there's some other goodies. We always throw other stuff in. Elizabeth Bardem Allard is our winner.
There we go. That means we got 3 more prizes still to give away.
Yeah.
Doo doo. Boo boo. And I gotta close this.
And switch me back.
And boom. All right, we got more prizes to come.
Yep.
Just a little bit later.
I have added tiny little dip dots of lamp black to the center here, towards the front and around the edges. And then I'm going to add a series of little tiny dots, just to add a little texture and a highlight to the center of our flowers. And I'm doing that just with little dip dots of a little bit of warm white. And I like coming past the edges of the center and out onto the petals a little bit. It just gives it an airy feel. And it doesn't look so structured. And what I mean by structured, let me show you what I mean. If I were to do this daisy here, and I just stuck to the inside of the shell, it looks more solid. So if I take a few of those dots out past the edge of the center, it just gives it a little more loose feel, and it doesn't feel so confined. So I like them small. I don't want to make them too big. And I come out past the edges. It just gives it an airier feel, a lighter feel to the center of the flower. So there we go. So we have brown-eyed Susans.
Do you have to be on your YouTube to be in the drawing? No, you just have to share.
Absolutely not. If you're on Facebook, just hit the share button. That's all you have to do. Your name goes in it. We see you. We see you. So one flower that I added to this design that I haven't really done in a whole lot of things is forget-me-nots. And they're such a pretty and delicate little flower. I thought it'd be fun to throw a few in. And so I'm going to do that with the end of my brush. And I'm just using the wood end of my fugly brush. And I'm using a little bit of Bahama Blue. And I'm going to put a dip dot where these petals are. Nice round little flower, like so. These are little 6-petal flowers. I don't know how many petals a forget-me-not actually has, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just putting a few little dots like this in a ring, approximately the size and shape of the flower. I'm not going to worry too much about it. This one is hiding underneath a leaf, so I'm only doing half of it. The only thing I'm trying to do is to make sure that I get paint on all of the petals. And I kind of like the idea that it's slightly overlapping one of these flowers. It just makes it a little more interesting. And it's this simple, just a few dip dots all the way around. I just make sure they're all relatively the same size. And I kind of like this handle because it seems to be that, that ideal size for those petals. So I've put a few dots in, and I'm going to dry that. I like the Bahama blue for this. It really pops off, especially with that yellow. I like pulling that all together. It's not completely dry, but close enough. So for the center, you're going to use the same brush, but you're going to pick up some of that Sunny Day. And right into the center, you're going to press down until it actually joins all of those petals together. So that dot's going to be a little bit bigger than the one that you used for the petals. It's a very simplistic little flower, but it is going to work well. There we go. So easy peasy little forget-me-nots. These need to dry well before I tackle them because there's a lot of paint there, so they're super cute. Forget-me-nots, we have them, they grow wild here. Holy Moses. We stopped trying to fight them because they're, first of all, they're very, very pretty. They bloom all summer long, but we had them everywhere. They were growing in the lawn. They were so we had to clean them up a little bit, but I have them in one little corner of the yard. They seem to have isolated themselves there, are happy there, and have been doing rather well in that little corner. And it's so pretty to look out in the middle of the summer and see all of that bright blue in with all of those other flowers. They're just so pretty. I know why they're called forget-me-nots.
You forget what they are?
No, you can't get rid of the damn things. How can you forget them?
Jessica says, forget-me-nots are my son's favorite flower. He always said as a child, those are my favorite. What are they called?
Forget-me-nots.
What was the color of the middle dot?
Sunny Day. Same as the brown-eyed Susans. So there are that. So I'm going to, they're still soft, but I'm going to do this anyway because I'll likely make a mess. But I'm going to take a little bit of that Sunny Day, not Sunny Day, sorry, Orange Flame, and I'm going to put a little float on the bottom of each of those little yellow dots. Just a simple little float, C-shaped, just at the bottom of each yellow center. Just like that. And then you're going to take your warm white, and again, I'm just using a fine liner for this. And we're going to put just a little ring of tiny little dots around the outside edge of that center so that they overlap onto the petals and onto the center. So it's just going to be a nice loose little crown of white dots going around. Nothing fancy. Just going to add a little bit of texture. These are just little filler flowers, so they don't have to be utterly perfect. We're going to add a little splash of color, and as we go, we're going to add some details in and around these flowers that's going to make them pop. So I like this little bit of texture around the centers of the flowers. Just makes for some cute little florets. There was a time when forget-me-nots and orange blossoms were used heavily in bridal bouquets.
You know where else they were used?
Where?
In the nose of plague doctors.
Nosegays, yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure why. They're not heavily scented.
They believed they were, what's the word? They prevented ailment from entering your nose.
Oh, okay.
So they were like a filter.
Somewhat medicinal.
Yeah. They would also stuff it with lavender.
Yes. Lavender, I knew. That somehow overpowering something with a scent was going to prevent you from getting sick.
Yeah.
I included lavender in this too, because that's a flower that we haven't really talked about either. I'm a huge fan. I love lavender. I have it in my front flower beds. I love the scent of it. I love the taste of it. Lavender is just one of those things for me.
Very perfumey.
It is a very heavily perfumed. I love the scent. And it's very soothing. It's a soothing flower. It's used a lot in... Lavender oil is used for people with anxiety, and it'll help you sleep. It helps you relax.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 great big plants in my front flower bed. And one just started blooming the other day, and it hasn't hit the scent stage yet. But I'm waiting. It's going to momentarily. Love lavender. And it's surprisingly easy to paint. I mean, you can be as realistic as you want with it, but we're going to do a simplified version, but it's super easy. There's 2 strings of berries in this piece. And these berries just get base coated with a little bit of warm white. Nothing fancy. What I will say is try to keep them round. Not like what I just did. It suddenly became egg-shaped.
I gotta see where we're at for getting close to the end of the month. Let's see how much the puppers are gonna get.
Oh, yes.
Studio. Woo. Wow, that looks easy. Did you make it too easy?
I hope not. This is actually a very simple design to paint. Instead of looking at it as an entire piece that you need to accomplish, think about it as an individual elements and complete each element separately. And then you'll find it's less intimidating whenever you're doing something like that. So we have the white berries, and there is one hiding right here that I almost missed.
10, 15, 25.
So we have $25 for the month of June going to the puppers
So far.
so far. Nice.
Are those baby breath you're painting right now?
No, they're just a string of simplified berries. They're going to be white berries. I like adding these little strands of berries into some things. One, it brings in a shiny element, something that you're going to, have a slick change in texture, if you want to call it that. I also like that you can bend them to suit, to fill up space, because that's essentially what they are, as a filler. But they're nice when you put them in with fall items and then change the color to a bright orange, from a white to an orange, or you can use them in festive things and change them to a bright red. And they look really pretty if you do them in a deep purple too, depending on the design that you're working on. So you can change up these little strands of berries to suit, and they work really, really nicely. So our next step is we're going to start doing some of this greenery in here. And I'm using a little bit of desert cactus. I love this color. Desert cactus is one of my favorites for this type of thing. And we're going to paint the lavender leaves. I'm using a number 2 round. And this is super simple. We're just going to pull a comma stroke. These leaves are super easy. Just a comma stroke.
Kelly Davis says, for your information, your buddy Patricia Rollins has some of her collage paper and transfer paper sets on sale for $5.
Nice. Patricia's got some beautiful collage and transfer papers. If you're in the market.
And they're on sale.
And they're on sale, even better.
Gooseberries would be good too.
Gooseberries, that's a great idea.
That's from Sandy Fowler.
Yeah, gooseberries. I love the texture of gooseberries. They've got great color. So I'm just going to stroke these little sections in. I'm just using a comma stroke because it's a fast and easy way to get those leaves painted. Like so.
Oh no, Christina Wood.
What's wrong, Christina?
Oh, she took her message back.
Oh.
She retracted her message.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I saw it for a second.
Mm.
And if you're taking it back, I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
So, just to be polite.
So I just stroked that in with a little bit of that desert cactus. I like this one. It's a cool green. It's got a little bit of gray in it. It's almost a little muddy and kind of flat looking until you add other colors to it. And that other color that I'm going to use today is mermaid tail. I love mermaid tail.
Oh, Mary Galliotto.
Hi, Mary.
Is wondering if there is a list of discontinued colors.
Not yet. I haven't received one from Decor yet. I will share it as soon as I know.
How are we looking on Facebook? Still in frame there?
Yeah, seem to be.
I can't see because I got the wheel in front of me and I'm
Yep. No, we're
still adding
in frame.
names. Adding more and more names every...
Good.
We got 68 so far. We're going to add more soon.
So the eucalyptus leaves, that's going to bug me now until I see a copy of that pattern. The eucalyptus leaves are based with desert cactus as well. It's a wonderful thing about technology. Is I can access my pattern.
Oh. Okay, so Christina Wood brought her message back saying, we just lost our 4-year-old granddog to lymphoma on Thursday.
Oh.
It's just not fair.
No, it's
I
not.
agree. Sadly,
It is sad it happens.
and 4 years old, that's young.
It is. That's terrible.
And my curiosity is going to ask you, was it a Labrador Retriever, or a Labrador cross of some sort? because Labradors have the highest chance of contracting a form of cancer.
Oh,
So
puppers. It's so sad.
I pressed send before the statement was finished.
Oh.
It's okay. I understand sometimes people put up a message and they retract it, and I respect it. But I'm sorry you lost a family member.
Yes. Yeah, it seems that I am missing the paragraph with the eucalyptus instructions. So I will make the correction and then post that today. But yeah, I'm reading through it, and I have the instructions for the lavender, but I seem to have missed putting in the instructions for the eucalyptus. Every other one is there. All of the other leaves are there, but not the eucalyptus. Linda, thank you for pointing that out so I can fix it.
There we go.
So
We're going to fix it for you, Linda. We're going to send you a copy.
Yep. Now, anybody that's placed an order, we'll send them, if they've ordered that pattern, we'll send them the correction. Yep. Not a problem. So, I'm going to dry these real quick.
Thank you. They leave. Thank you for the kind words. They leave so many footprints on your heart.
Yes. Oh, do they ever?
Yeah, and my hand.
Yep.
Forever.
Teeth marks.
What's that?
And teeth marks.
And teeth marks. Yeah, I got a few scars from dog bites.
Puppy nibbles.
Puppy nibbles. Yep. The one that still sticks with me was the Rottweiler biting me. So, because the look on that Rottweiler's face was, oh no.
Poor puppy.
Because he didn't mean to bite me. He didn't mean to break my finger, but
but he's a strong pupper.
And you know what? He understood what I was trying to get at. I just redirected his play bite towards me, and it didn't work out too well.
Yep, not for you.
Yeah, it happens.
So, all of these lavender leaves. Ooh. What?
She landed rough.
Did she?
Yeah. Wasn't as graceful as she normally is.
Miss Soot's going back in this week.
Yeah, she's
good. So we're going to shade the base of these lavender leaves. I'm using just a little bit of thinned mermaid tail. I love this color. And I love it on these lavender leaves. So just like we did the petals where that float is C-shaped. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And down towards the base of the leaf, it kind of creates that, that little bit of depth that we want in there without being overpowering. And then I'm going to do the same thing to separate all of these leaves from the ones in front of it.
Nope. Sheila Landry's in the house.
Hey, Sheila.
Hi, everyone. Just got in and had to say hi. I have to fix supper, but I'll be checking in. That's what she's saying.
Cool.
Cool.
So I'm just separating all of these leaves with a little float of that mermaid tail on top of that green. I love that combination. And while we have that mermaid tail, we're going to put a little float of it on this side of the eucalyptus leaf. And then we're going to put a nice little curved float down the center to create that little curve in the leaf. I love this color and this combination. Creates a really pretty tone. And it helps make that, gives that leaf a nice little, I don't know, a soft curve. and rounds it out really nicely. So there's that little touch of eucalyptus. It pops up really nicely. And then I'm going to rinse out my brush and I'm going to grab a little bit of thin asphaltum. Just a little. And again, I thin it out. I don't use it full strength. And I'm going to come back in over top of that lavender leaf. And right over top of that mermaid tail on the lavender. And just the lavender. It's going to separate those leaves nicely, changes the tone slightly. And it deepens that color at the same time, so we get nice definition. Just like that. Again, it's a C-shaped float right over top of that mermaid's tail. So it gives us nice definition, separates these leaves from that eucalyptus that's in front of it. So then I'm going to take a little bit of warm white. Again, I'm thinning it. I don't want this color full strength. And I'm coming to the tips of my leaves and just putting a little C-stroked float, or C-shaped float at the very tip of these leaves. And that's going to give us a nice little highlight. It's subtle. It's not in your face. It's not a bright white float. It's just a little frosted look. And I'm going to do the same thing to these eucalyptus leaves. That little float of warm white is going to give us a nice soft, almost frosted look to those eucalyptus leaves.
Karen Marburg says, I really like this class, just watching and listening today, making some collage paper too.
Oh, good for you.
Right on.
It's super fun to do, and you can use it anytime. You can store it up and use it, keep it for other projects. Instead of having to go out and buy, a particular roll of paper for a project, just worry about the line drawing and then use your own papers to create your unique piece. And there's lots of products available, but I mean, if you can make your own, and then they're uniquely yours.
Robin Storm. Okay, Renee. We have not heard anything about food today.
Because he doesn't know what's for supper.
What's for dinner?
That's
the question. What's for dinner?
We're having chicken noche.
I'm in.
Gnocchi.
Fried with bacon?
If you want.
And onions?
Yeah.
Is there any other way to eat noche?
Chicken noche. So it's going to have fresh thyme and some cream and smoked bacon and some vegetables. You'll be happy.
You got chicken and noche.
Yeah, what's not to be happy about?
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi. I don't know how it's pronounced. I make a mess of it every time.
Chicken. What? Noche.
I don't know that they
Gnocchi.
pronounce it that way.
I don't know how it's... Gnocchi? I think it's gnocchi.
Could be.
It is Italian.
It is Italian, but that doesn't mean anything.
BLTs?
Ooh. Those would be good too.
Mm.
So our local grocery store had whole chickens on sale this week for like a stupid cheap price.
Food time.
It is stupid cheap price. I think they were like $2 a pound or something like that for fresh chickens, for like nice sized chickens. So I bought 4 nice sized chickens, and I was considering putting them in the smoker, but I'm thinking I'm just going to just freeze them.
Oh.
Do something fun with them later. So we have a few other leaves and grasses and whatnot in here to take care of. So I'm going to use a little bit of antique green.
Really, Google? That's gnocchi?
Gnocchi? That
Gnocchi.
makes sense.
Here. For everybody.
Gnocchi.
There.
Turn it up.
That's so
Google says it's pronounced like this.
Gnocchi.
Okay. We'll
Gnocchi.
go with that.
Gnocchi.
So I'm going to just stroke in a few of these leaves. This is a little bit of antique green. This is, I think, my favorite green for leaves. I think it's my favorite green. I just like how it looks. I like the tone. It is a little transparent, so you do have to usually use a couple of coats to get good coverage, but it's all good. And I absolutely love the tone of this. It's a nice change from these other greens that I have in here. Gives a nice tone. And we also, oh my gosh, this thing has got a little bit of a bend in it. So it's spinning. So all of these little blades of grass back here are just essentially going to be a simple stroke of green. You don't even have to come back and base coat them a second time because they're just filler. And so having them a little transparent is okay. I've got another leaf back here that I want to get base coated. There we go. And I do like having those little blades of grass, I guess we can call them. There is one back here that I missed. Gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
And I'm going to base coat this big leaf. There's two big, large leaves under this flower here. I'm going to base coat that with antique green as well. Trying to find a dry spot so I don't put my fingers in wet paint.
It's usually made from potatoes. Yep.
Yep.
But doesn't always have to be. No, you can have it made from potatoes and filled with cheese. Just saying. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, he likes the cheese stuffed ones.
Yeah, you stuff them with cheese, and then you fry them with some onions, and bacon.
He knows there's a big slab of homemade bacon in the fridge.
So good. It's such a smoky bacon, and for good reason.
Because it spent like 11 hours in the smoker. So the rest is just filling in a few little strands of little strokes of blades of grass back there. They don't have to be perfect. You just need to connect them. That's all. So I'm going to dry this real quick.
I don't watch my weight. I watch it go up. I just eat.
He inherited my father's metabolism.
Hollow legs.
Hollow legs, yeah. My father...
Didn't get his height, though.
No, you didn't get his height. But you did get his metabolism.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Oh, yes. Gnocchi filled with mozzarella and pesto.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love pesto.
The garlic.
The pine nuts, the fresh basil. Oh, yum. I'm sorry. Like, back to the topic.
Drooling.
I'm drooling. But yes, I have a really nice recipe for chicken gnocchi. Gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
Yeah.
Gnocchi.
So I have a really nice recipe for that. It's lots of fresh thyme, chicken thighs, some heavy cream, and I throw a little bacon, the homemade bacon in it because it just has a really nice smoky flavor and it pairs up really well with all of that fresh thyme. So second coat antique green on the leaves, just so that I have a nice opaque coverage. I don't want these to look sketchy. They need to look pretty opaque. And this is filling in nicely. I didn't want this to look like a solid mass. I wanted it to be a little more open and airy. So hence the reason we went with all of these little stems and whatnot back there. It just gives it a softer, lighter feel. Instead of having a whole pile of solid leaves in behind it, or even a solid color, I like that it has this sort of these lines back there. It just keeps it open and loose. So we have leaves. This one's a long one today, but not a bad thing. I've been wanting to talk about the collage papers for quite a while. I love working with collage paper, but it's often difficult to find the ones you want or find exactly what you want. And I recently started playing more with paper, and I really like what I came up with. And I love how it looks. And so just using what I had on hand, I didn't go looking for anything particular. I just brought a whole bunch of my favorite stamps out, and I just started working with those, and then started incorporating some of my favorite stencils too. And I just like how that looks. Now, I've worked entirely in black, but there's nothing to say that you couldn't do that in white. Stencil in black and then start layering some white stamps over top of it just to change up the texture. I think that would look great too. Okay, I think that's... No, not quite. A couple of spots there are a little heavy-handed. I'm anxious to paint the lavender because it's a fun flower to paint and it's super easy. And there's a couple of different ways to do it, so we're going to talk about a couple of them. You can use round brushes, you can use angles, you can use a bunch of things, but so we're going to take a little bit of time to discuss that. I know what's causing that bend is me heating this board. So in order to finish off this lavender, we need to do something with those stems, but it can't be a super dark color. So I'm going to use a little bit of margarita. You could use matcha green. My matcha green is in the big rack and the margarita is closer to hand. So that's what I'm using. So let me put some of these brushes away here. So I'm using a little liner to do this. And I'm going to thin out some margarita. And I'm going to pull some nothing fancy. It's just a nice fine line of margarita. You just need a lighter green, that's all. And I need a little bit more there. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. This liner brush doesn't want to hold a lot of paint today for whatever reason. There we go. So just a few lines coming off. There we go. So nothing fancy. They don't have to be straight. I'm going to dry that real quick. Okay, so to paint this lavender, I need 3 colors. I need a Diox purple, which is that nice dark purple. And a lighter purple, you can use wisteria. This one is lilac meadow. You can use purple petal. And we need a little bit of warm white. And this is such a super easy way to paint lavender. And it's so pretty. So I'm going to do this with a 1/4 inch angle. I'm going to show you how to do it with 1/4 inch angle, then I'll show you how to do it with something smaller. So I've got a 1/4 inch. This is a faux squirrel angle, a small one. I'm going to get this nice and wet. Not dripping, but wet. And we're going to double load this brush, and we're going to start... I'm going to pull this palette around so you can see what I'm doing. going to start on the heel of the brush, which is the shortest end of the brush. You're going to pick up a little bit of Diox purple, like so. And on the front of the brush, you're going to pick up a little bit of that lilac meadow or purple petal, whatever color it is you chose. And you're going to blend this brush back and forth until the two colors merge. And then I'm going to start at the end of the branch or the stem, and I'm going to stand the brush right up on its chisel edge and just going to tap. So I get this. So on the tip of each of those. Now, how much pressure you apply is going to decide how big that gets. So if you want them really delicate looking, a lighter touch, and if you want them heavier looking, a heavier touch.
Oh, man.
So then you're going to come down from that point and you're going to make 3 little pieces like so. Just tap and pull like that. So it forms a little bud at the end of it. And then you're going to come down a little further and repeat. But you're always dropping the brush down a little further so that you get a little of that darker purple in there.
You don't paint lavender with lavender?
Nope.
Nope.
I don't. And it's a tap and pull.
I don't have that name in there. I gotta put that name in.
So I like that little, it's a simplistic way to paint lavender. And if you find it's not bright enough, so essentially you're forming this. One out like that, one straight up, one like this. So you're forming that shape.
What was the lighter green you used?
Margarita.
Margarita.
I like having that first one at the top, like so. Oops, a little too much. So there is our lavender. Now, with that dirty brush, pick up a little bit warm white on the tip, and then you can go in between that first set little bit and just add a punch of highlight. Just a little bit, and it's not everywhere. Just in a few spots. It just gives you a little bit of a highlight.
Oh.
And it gives them a little more.
Carol May's got Happy Mail today.
Did she? Excellent.
Stencils from Studio R12.
I love Studio R12.
And the 2022 Deco Art paints from Cupboard Distributing.
Excellent.
Right on.
New colors. Gotta love them. So, do the tip, little press, get a single bud, single bud, single bud, single bud. It's a simple little tap and pull. And then you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
And I'm guessing Jessica Killeran just went to her mailbox. Her new colors just arrived.
Woohoo! Well, I know that they have been shipping for the last, like crazy for the last little bit, so.
They've been busy.
They've been busy.
So I have 175 names, yet there's only 169 people in the chat.
Wow, that means that
So
somebody's just sharing.
Some people are leaving.
So there is my lavender. Fast and easy, super easy way to paint lavender. Again, we're not looking for real super high realism here. We're just creating a little bit of lavender. I love it. It's pretty. So,
As I'm adding 2 more names here.
yeah. So we have all of these other leaves now that they're dry. We're going to add a little bit of shading to them with some plantation pine, and my plantation pine is not here. over there.
And I got the two names mixed up. It's Linda Morgan and Kat McDonald, not Kat Morgan
And Linda
McDonald. Trying to add your names to the wheel.
What is with my chair?
I don't know. It's squeaky.
Well, it's something that's not sitting right. So we're going to shade these darker green flowers with a little bit of plantation pine. That's the antique green ones here. And I've got a little too much liquid in my brush. So, and I keep these really simple. So C-shaped float at the bottom of the leaf where it would join the stem. Like so. I do like my simple floats.
Sheila just realized this is our second anniversary. Happy anniversary, my dearest friend, for 2 years.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. It's at times it's a lot of work, but don't regret it for a second. We've had a blast doing these.
Oh my god. Yeah, my chat just refreshed. There we go.
So, and again, I do that C-shaped float at the base of the leaf, get in there around my flowers, and then down the center vein, I like this leaf too. Come up, so we get that nice little float. And then a float like this. Whoops, too wet. I messed it up. I oopsied. I made a mess of that. So I'm going to dry this so that I can correct my boo-boo. I had a little too much liquid in my brush, so my floats kind of got a little out of control. So I'm going to put a float down the center vein of these leaves here.
That's the thing, Sheila. Once you find something you love doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yep.
It's a great goal to strive for, and if you achieved it, even better.
Well, this is just fun. Like crazy fun. Okay, let's see if I can fix the whoopsie I made on this leaf down here, because hello, what a mess. So I'm going to, that's better. Honestly, some days me and the Lord's Prayer.
Or retired.
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
So I'm going to deepen that float down the center vein and underneath this petal. Here we go. Nice. Okay. So I've got all of my shading in place on those leaves. What the heck? I'm going to take a little bit of margarita. I love this green. It's a little more transparent, but you can use a matcha green, will work fine too. Any one of those high yellow greens will work fine. So I'm going to put a highlight down the center of my leaf and on the edges of these leaves. And down that center vein. Oops, going the wrong way. There we go. And I'm going to use that same green to highlight those smaller leaves. Now, when I do these smaller leaves, you notice I'm using the whole chisel edge of my brush to put that highlight on. It tends to mute that center vein a little bit, that first shadow that I did. And that's okay, because you can always come back in after the fact. Oh my goodness, did I ever hoop that? Made a mess. There we go. So, good gravy, Marie. Okay. Fresh glaze. More paint.
Oh, that's a name. You always make it look so easy. Mary Ann Verway Hughes? That's quite the name.
So, highlight. I'm using the whole chisel edge of the brush, as I was saying, to put in my highlights. And it's going to mute that center vein a little. That's okay because we're going to come back in after the fact and we'll deepen that center vein so that it doesn't look quite so muddy. And we get that definition back. And let me show you how I do that. So, angled shader, glaze, plantation pine. I'm going to dry these so I don't end up making a mess of them again. And this is where you get to, so that shadow, although it's still there, it's not as well defined as I would like it. So I just reloaded the brush with some plantation pine. And look at that. Nice crisp center. Down that center vein. Because I'm working with a transparent green, and I'm keeping the darkest value towards the center of the leaf, I get nice sharp definition in that shading. Even though I subdued it when I went over with the float, with the highlight color, all I'm doing is just redefining that center vein. So I get a nice crisp line down the center. And I've found that that's the easiest way to do it. Establish the shadow in the center vein, put in your highlight, and then redefine that center vein. Gives you nice contrast so your highlight looks brighter, gives you a clean, sharp float down the center, and then you get nice definition in the center vein.
Brenda Owen says, amazing that a woman with both her hands and braces can still paint much better than me.
I am medicated. My hands don't feel too bad right now. So, but without the braces, they're just sore as the devil. I don't know what I did, but it's just...
Everything hurts.
Oh. But the wrists have been really sore for the last couple of weeks. So, wrists, hands, fingers. It's the top of the hand that drives me crazy because I for a couple of days I couldn't even make a fist without pain. So we only have a few more little details to do, and then this floral portion will be complete. We have to let's make these berries jump. Now, I like using Bahama Blue for this, but after the fact the other day, I thought, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to use a little bit of that mermaid's tail in there. So I'm just shading the bottom of the berry, little half circle. And that's all it is, a little half circle. And I'm coming in just slightly from the edge. I don't want this to be right to the edge. It just gives it a little more definition when you do it this way.
Oh,
and
our buddy Linda's got an issue.
What?
What can cause the antique green to look molted when you put it on? I put a coat of warm white on the leaves before the antique green.
What do you mean molted? I have done mine directly over the black. It tends to mute the color a little bit. They get a little brighter if you use a white base coat. So if you want them muted, don't put your white base coat down.
There you go.
Yep. So now once those are dry, I'm going to take a little bit of thin asphaltum. Just a tiny amount. You don't want a ton of this. And we want it thin because you don't want this color full strength. It's very strong, especially on white. And I'm going to go right over top of that blue with that little bit of asphaltum, and it changes the look of that berry drastically. So it changes the blue, gives it a slightly greenish cast, and it darkens the berry. dramatically. And I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to grab my liner brush. I knew it's here somewhere. And I'm going to use a stroke of warm white or a dot, and we're going to put it on the opposite of that float. So I've got a bright white spot. I like putting that white dot right there, just inside the edge, so that it slightly overlaps that blue, and it just gives you a nice little punch of light on that berry. And then we have to start connecting everything. And that's where my 15-aught or my 10-aught micron liner comes in, because I love this liner brush for this. I'm going to use a little bit of margarita green, but I'm going to pull in a little bit of warm white just to make it a little bit more opaque. And I'm going to thin it out with lots of glaze because I want this to be very thin. And I'm going to connect my little flowers and my berries with tiny little strokes like that.
I missed something there. Patrick, how's your class? Oh, that is talking to Patrick.
Okay. So I'm using that same margarita to connect my dark green leaves, like so. And this is something I do in a lot of my leaves, and it's just something I like doing. I use that light green to add just a light scribbly line along my leaves and a little flick. I just like the texture it creates. And I only do that to the larger leaves.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about dogs at all today.
Not too much.
No. Just sorry to hear somebody lost a dog in their life.
That's so sad. Our Miss Sooters is going back to the vet this week. She's getting another drain. Miss Sooters is our 14-year-old
Senior citizen.
our senior citizen. She has...
Dot devoured those hearts.
Oh, she finally ate, did she?
Yeah, but she didn't eat all of it.
No.
Yeah.
She ate the salmon?
She ate the salmon, the chicken feet, and the chicken hearts. But she didn't touch any of the, basically the filler.
Oh.
So.
Miss Dot's a little persnickety these days.
Dad's figured out that I think we have to feed her in courses if we want to give her multiple foods.
Yeah, could be. Our Miss Dot's a little selective.
What's this? Tracy, do you keep a food diary?
Not really.
She keeps a bunch of cookbooks, if that's what you mean.
I keep track of what I eat daily.
Yeah.
But not really a food diary. It's more for my own knowledge. So just so I'm aware of what I'm eating and when. That's all. So I just thinned out a little bit of desert cactus, and I added a touch of warm white to it. Just a touch. I just want to change the opacity of it a little bit. Make it a little bit brighter.
Dot doesn't like her food touching. Pretty much.
Pretty much. She's kind of funny. She's quirky when it comes to food.
Dot is a foodie like you, Renee. She doesn't want filler.
Well,
she has to have filler.
Yeah. Dot is she's on a raw diet. She's a lot of, yeah, sort of. But the bulk of her diet is more raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she gets like raw chicken hearts and
chicken feet,
chicken feet and loaf, and so I'm pretty much happy with where this is. Now, I usually finish off this type of thing with my gel pen and start adding, some fun squiggly lines around petals and things like that, just to define them a little bit better. But I will do that in a bit. I tend to wait till it's towards the end, and I can clean up graphite lines and whatnot. I like how this looks. I think it's a neat combination of colors. You could add more lavender wherever and whenever you wanted to. If you find that this is a little too structured, you could actually pull a couple of strands this way too. It would be fine. You can make all sorts of fun adjustments to it. But let's talk about Bumblebee. There's two little guys up here. They're painted the same way as this fella down here, but I think this fella, we need to talk about him, and then we'll talk about the lettering. So I'm going to grab my number 2 round again, and we're going to start with painting the wings on this guy. He's just going to get a little bit warm white. And I think that 1 coat is sufficient, as long as it's a nicely painted 1 coat. This is a horrible brush.
Mm-hmm.
It has a split in it. It was driving me bonkers. I think it's time I retire some of these. This one is actually fairly new, but because I left it in water overnight, came downstairs, and when I picked it up, all the paint flaked off because I'm twit.
Our colleague Raffin never missed a Tracy and Renee Saturday. He lays on his toys and listens to your voice while I watch and paint. Post a picture of Tracy Moreau live. I posted a picture of Tracy Moreau live while I watched and painted. I'm so sorry about the loss of the pup this week. It's the toughest part of having a furry family.
Yes.
Yeah, not a fan of puppy or kitty goodbyes.
No, I don't think anybody is. Hurts my heart.
You think you're ready for it.
Oh, you're never ready.
Yeah.
You're never ready. So I've got just 1 coat of warm white on the wings. I find that that's usually sufficient. Of course, if you prefer it to be more opaque, by all means, go right ahead. Now, I'm just putting in a loose coat of warm white here and here. And I'm leaving it kind of fuzzy looking because I want this to be a fuzzy butt bumblebee. So I'm not painting it solid. I kind of like that fuzzy butt look.
What's this? Becca Buckner. My daughter would make her Malamute dog fast for a day or 2 and then feed him half a raw chicken. That's not good. You shouldn't do that.
It's hard on them.
Not a day, maybe.
Yeah.
But 2 days? No. I can't go a day fasting with Dot.
No. Too long for her.
It's too long for her.
Well, I suppose it depends on the animal too.
Yeah,
but
Malamutes are known for
they self-regulate.
Yeah, they self-regulate very, very often.
Yeah.
But half a raw chicken. I do a whole chicken. But remove the skin.
Yeah.
Because that's where all the salmonella likes to hang out.
Miss Dot loves. I buy chicken hearts, frozen chicken hearts, and
chicken feet.
Chicken feet, things like that. And she likes those. So I've taken a little bit of that sunny day and went right over top of that warm white. I'm going to move that up so you can see it. So, and I like the fact that it's not fully opaque. It's not completely solid. So it's kind of has some texture there, which I rather like.
That salmon you did. That marinated salmon that we put in the smoker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jessica Killern says, Renee, my husband just brought home some salmon for the smoker. How do we make it taste yummy?
Jessica, I have a really great recipe. It uses maple syrup, brown sugar, some soy sauce, some kosher salt. It takes a while to get it ready, but about 7 to 9 days, actually. It has to sit in the fridge, but I can promise you it will be worth the wait.
Yeah.
I will be more than happy to send you the recipe for that because it's fantastic.
it lasts forever because now it's cured.
Yeah.
And, well, it doesn't last forever.
And even though it has salt in it, it's more of a sugar cure as opposed to a salt cure. So it doesn't taste salty. It's a wonderful recipe. And I'd be more than happy to send it to you.
I'm going to have to send it to her.
Yeah.
'Cause that by far was one of the betters. Unless you're looking just for dinner. And there's all you need is some butter, dill, lemon.
Yep. If you're going to do it in the smoker for supper, then yeah.
Butter, dill, and lemon.
And I did a cold smoke on this one, not a hot smoke, and it was just fabulous. So, now, because I'm working on a black background, I don't have to base coat the rest of this bee because it's already black. So it doesn't need to be changed. And so from this point on, this is going to go very, very quickly because we don't have a lot actually to do. Some shading, some highlighting, and a little bit of detail work. So we're going to start with the wings. I'm using my 3/8 and a little bit of Bahama Blue. Oops.
What is a cold smoke?
Cold smoke is when there's no heat in the smoker. It's just whatever residual heat is caused by the smoke at the bottom. Or not using or elevating the temperature. I think mine never got past 100 degrees.
No.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It's basically whatever is burning your pellets or whatever.
Yeah. So it's a yummy way to smoke salmon. Of course, it would work well either way, but I don't think it would be bad.
Oh, it's not a rub. It is a marinade.
It's a marinade, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm putting a float of that Bahama Blue close to the body. Right in here. And I'm letting it come up about 1/3 of the width of the wing. And then I'm going to come out to the tip of the wing and do the same thing. Just a little float at the tip of the wing. Like so. So essentially you've got a little bit of blue out at the point and close to the body. And then you've got this nice bright white in the center of the wing.
I love how you paint bees.
I love bees. I love bees.
She's got a tattoo of a bee.
I have 3 bees.
3 bumblebees.
Still have to get my queen bee though.
I still got to get the mom tattoo.
Yep. So the shading for this guy can go on either side. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to drop it down towards the bottom. It's just a float of that orange flame over top of that yellow. Like so. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of asphaltum. And again, I'm thinning this color out heavily because I don't want to use it full strength. And then I'm going to go right over top of that orange with a float of that asphaltum. And again, it's heavily thinned. You don't want it full strength because then it'll just obliterate the color. Don't want to do that.
I guess you're going to have to share that marinade.
Yep, I will.
Because there's a lot of people say, please share it. It sounds delicious.
It is. It's a very good marinade.
It's very good.
Yeah.
And it keeps.
Does keeps very well. So I'm taking a little bit of warm white on the opposite side and just putting a little float of that on the opposite side. It just makes his bottom look nice and bright. And then while I have that warm white out in the brush, it is heavily thinned. I'm not using it full strength. We're going to add a highlight to the segments of the bee. Just like so. So it's just a little float at the top of each segment. And then on the legs, these little bits here, get a little float. Those little dots Doesn't look like much right now, but when we erase all of those graphite lines, you're going to see a nicely defined bee. So little highlight on top of each segment. Just like that. And then this is where we break out our extra long detail liner. And I'm going to do this with a little bit of lamp black, heavily thinned. We want this paint to be very, very thin. We want to be able to control it. And this is where our little fuzzy butt bumblebee gets fuzzier. So I like to pull little lines down on the black, and they are very thin, very fine. And I come down the sides of the bee.
Am I sleepy today?
He keeps yawning. I noticed that.
I don't know.
Are you sleepy?
Am I sleepy? I don't feel sleepy. I slept well.
So I'm just using some fine little lines coming off of the black to create that fuzzy look. I just want some little fine hairs like so. And I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of thinned warm white.
I don't know. Okay, chat. Do we spin the wheel?
We spin the wheel.
Oh, I was going to ask them.
Okay, well.
But since you said it, I guess we're spinning the wheel.
Say that like it's a bad thing.
All right, let's get the wheel going. Let's spin the wheel of misfortune. 194 names.
Nice. Lots of
You
people
need more
playing-
coffee? I haven't had a second one yet.
Yeah, he probably does.
Yeah, it's 3:40, so yeah, I'm due for one.
Oh.
Give it a couple shuffles. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. And spin.
There we go.
Spin, 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 spin. Boom. Robin Richey.
Excellent. Congratulations, Robin.
Robin.
Richard.
Richard.
Robin Richard.
Why do I keep going Richey?
Because French.
Because French.
Yep.
Robin Richey gets brushes.
Yep. So I got a nice little set of Dynasty Black Gold. There's a Fandango, 2 really nice rake brushes in different sizes, and a fountain brush. Plus there is a really cool little brush cleaner. We're lucky to get a whole bunch of those for giveaways. So
what else?
do another one.
Do another one. All right.
Because we're almost done. It was a longer one today, but that's okay.
Robin Harkless.
Nice.
What's with the robins?
Don't know.
I say that every time I look out on the lawn. What's with the robins?
Okay, I need to clear my palette because I've got way too much paint on here. And I need some warm white, and I don't want to put my hand in a bunch of wet paint.
And Robin gets brushes.
Yep.
Boom. Got another Robin. Yeah. I don't know. Do we save one for the end?
Yeah, save one for the end.
Big one. What's in the big one again?
The big one is another one of those skull bags.
Skull bag.
tote bag. And a set of the Tombow mechanical pencils that I use.
Ah, yes.
And the knock eraser that I use.
Oh, wow.
Plus one of the new black erasers.
Jeez. All the goodies.
So yeah, they get some nice goodies.
Yeah. We'll save that one for the end. And I gotta switch cameras again here.
Yep.
Somebody broke my stream deck, so I can't.
I did not break the screen.
I can't push any buttons.
Oh, you're pushing buttons, believe you me.
Don't mean to.
So
She broke it.
I did not break it. It's a number 2 rigger for this, and a little bit of thinned warm white. I'm just going to do, I don't know, maybe the word marche. Let's do that one. So I've got thinned warm white in my brush, lots of it, lots of glaze. I want this paint to be nice and smooth. And this is a number 2 rigger, a Dynasty Faux Squirrel number 2 rigger, my favorite lettering brush. I'm going to start at the top of the H, right on the chisel edge, push down until the brush opens up, and then come down and stop. So I can use that chisel edge to do those fine lines. Open it up, come back up onto the chisel edge.
Who won the first skull bag? The person who won the first skull bag was Elizabeth Barden Allard. Elizabeth Barden Allard.
Chisel edge. Now, I like to take my rigger and try to do the lettering in one pull. It doesn't always work, but I find that you get a smoother look if you can do it in one pull. Chisel edge, press down, open it up, come back up onto the chisel edge. And that will give you a nice, smooth letter. If you have to come back and do it again, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. Now this letter is going to be a bit of a pain because it's an ultra wide letter. And it never gets, I've never yet been able to do this one in one pull. Because it just doesn't want to do it. And I found that because it doesn't want to do it, it's never a smooth looking letter. So I have to do it in 2 pulls, and then it gets nice and clean. And I think it's just the size of the letter that's the issue, because it is a long pull. And I have short hands and short fingers, so. And I think that that's the issue, is just quite simply it's too big a letter to do it in one pull, but it's not too bad.
Robin Richards says, "Oh my gosh, thank you. I missed this so much while I was gone, following my mother's passing.
Yes.
I came home feeling totally wrung out. Yeah. You guys are starting to fill me back up."
Aw, that's so sweet.
We try.
Well, we knew when you had left the message, I know that there were so many of the members and so many of your associates here on Facebook were sending out prayers and best thoughts. And know that Renee and I were both sending out all the positive energy we possibly could. We both know how stressful and how frightening and how sad and how emotional it is. So our thoughts have been with you. I know a lot of your compatriots here feel the same way. So the healing part takes time, but you do what gives you all that positive energy back. So I'm switching over to my 10-aught this time around. My 10-aught liner. That's what I'm going to use to connect all these letters. And I like the 10-aught or the 15-aught because it'll hold enough paint for me to pull it the full distance so that I can connect things, and it doesn't look as if there was no continuity. It doesn't look it was done in 10 different steps, because it connects fluidly. So the lettering looks pretty good. And then I'll come over here and paint in that little accent figure.
That's now in the proper
That's
place.
now it's in the proper location.
Do we have Renee puppy hour after the class?
Not today, no.
No, not today. I've been busy with work and I haven't really put much thought into it, but it has been on my mind about certain topics to talk about.
Yeah.
But it may or may not come to fruition. Who knows? We'll see.
So there's this small little word, at the bottom here, in between. I'm just going to use the liner to fill that in. So the lettering below that is fleur, which is flowers. I'm going to, I'll fill that in with warm white, probably later on today, and then finish out the two little bumblebees. As for finishing this, it's pretty straightforward. Just going to use a little bit of white spatter on it. I left out the stamping this time around. It was one of those things. Once I got it finished, I realized it wasn't such a great idea to have all the stamping in the background. I found that the background got very busy. I do want to show you the finished piece for the SDP partner, the pattern that goes with this. It will be available exclusively through the SDP, so you'll have to find that on their website. In the next couple of weeks, I believe it goes up.
Patrick says, I think I'll hear about accents in French words for a long time. Me and my big mouth.
It's quite all right. We don't mind, believe me. The SDP had asked me to do an exclusive pattern for them, and I had designed, I think, 3 of these flower market signs because I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do for them. And so I finished theirs off and I sent it off last week. This is the one that I'm doing for the SDP. So they have the pattern for this. I love this piece. I think it's very pretty. It's heavily distressed. There's lots of aging to the lettering, etc. But it is the mate to this one. And so this pattern will be available exclusively through SDP. It is a fundraiser, so I don't make anything on this one. So I donated this one to the SDP for this fundraiser. So if you want to get the mate to this one, that's where you'll be able to find it. So this is it here. This one's got the sunflower in it. I really like the bold big flower in it. I think it's really pretty. So I was rather excited about this. So that one will be available through the SDP on the SDP website. And the pattern for this one is available on my website. So if you like the set, feel free. And I will have the correction because I got to put those eucalyptus leaves. I didn't realize they were missing. So I will make sure that they are put in there and given to you guys. So that is it for our Marché aux Fleurs bouquet. So this was a fun afternoon. I would have finished the lettering, but I got to be honest, my hands are killing me. My hands are sore. So I'm going to call it quits for today.
We got one more wheel.
And we still have one more giveaway to give. So my hands are really sore right now. And I still have to go make supper.
Yum.
Yum.
Click.
Click.
194 names on there.
Nice. So we've had a busy day. That's great.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Who do we got? We got somebody named Ann Davis.
Ann Davis. Excellent. So Ann, you're getting a one of the skull tote bags, and there's a nice little kit in there. There's a pouch in it, actually, a pencil pouch. So it's going to have your Tombow Knock eraser, one of my new black erasers, and the Tombow mechanical pencil. I love my mechanical pencil. It has been in constant use since I've got it. It's a great pencil, and I like to share. So you guys have got that. It's been a whole 2 years since we started doing these lives. I don't regret it for 1 second. I've had so much fun doing this. We are going to continue because we're just having too much fun doing it. So And because of that, I would love to know what you would like to see. I'd love to know what you would like me to show you.
We already had somebody ask if you would do a class on painting on t-shirts.
On t-shirts, on fabric. I guess we've never done fabric, have we? I could do that. I think that'd be fun. Teaching on fabric. Yeah, painting on fabric. Not teaching on fabric. Painting on fabric. I think that'd be fun. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys would like to learn. Sometimes I'm at a loss. So if you have ideas, by all means, send them off to me. I'm more than happy to see what I can put together. So I hope you enjoyed doing the collage paper today. I hope that gave you some great ideas. Next Saturday. We have next Saturday's class is already ready. And it's right here. I hope you're feeling festive. I know, because we're going into July. So it's the 2nd of July. And we're painting this little guy here. This Merry Christmas sign. It's called Birds in the Holly. I love this piece. But I love painting these little guys. They're just so much fun. And you're going to need some snowflakes. Now, you can do this with either Stencil or I used these snowflakes from Southern Ridge Trading. We do have some of these on the website. But if we don't have all of them, I just used the bigger ones and a couple of the smaller ones. But they are available from Southern Ridge Trading, and their website is chipboard.ca. Absolutely love her stuff. She comes up with just the best things. So I've been using those snowflakes. We're using lots of bright colors, lots of festive colors, and painting these really cute little chickadees. I love chickadees. Renee doesn't.
No, I don't.
No, he doesn't like them. I love them, but he hates them.
I don't like
think
chickadees.
they're noisy.
They are.
They are noisy.
They're annoying.
They're not annoying. They're cute.
Make a different sound.
They're a little repetitious, apparently.
Gotta keep chatting. I almost got something done here.
He's almost got something done. What are you doing now?
They'll see.
Okay.
They will see.
So next Saturday, we're painting Birds in the Holly. So and that pattern is available on the website. We also do have the snowflakes if you're looking for them. If not, you can use the snowflake stencil too. That will work just fine because it's just creating a little bit of interest in the background. So Birds Among the Holly is what we're painting next Saturday. After that, we are going to be using some of our handmade collage paper for a fun little triptych. So I have the drawings done. I just need to sit down and paint.
Grackles.
Grackles?
That's another one that
those
can
things
go away.
Yeah, they could go away. They're a nuisance. So we're going to be after the 2nd of July, the week after next, we're going to be using that handmade collage paper to create some fun backgrounds for some nice little garden piece, a little garden triptych. So that's what we're working on. And I have a whole bunch of designs drawn. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and paint them. So having said that, thanks so much to all of you for coming and watching every Saturday. For the last 2 years, you guys have been amazing. Your support's been incredible, and we really do appreciate it. On the YouTube channel, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please hit that big red subscribe button. We are aiming at the 6,000 mark, and we're almost halfway there, I think.
Yeah, we need about 600 more.
About another 600 more subscribers. We're aiming for the 6,000 mark. That's our next challenge. Following that one, we're aiming for 10,000 because then we can do even more. So we're excited about that. And if you're on the Facebook page, please hit the follow button on the Tracy Morrow Live Facebook page. That follow button means a big deal to us on that page. It generates a lot more options for us and a lot more opportunity for us to bring you some really great content on there. So hit the follow button. If you've got friends and family that like to watch too, ask them to hit the follow button too. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
They could win.
They could win. Yes, absolutely.
I got a new ending screen.
Oh, I'm afraid to look.
I'm hoping it works.
I am too, because I'm afraid if it doesn't.
Well, I had to get a bunch of names together.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
It has all the
Cool.
winners' names on it. So
Excellent.
that's why I had to do it quick.
Really quick.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us this week. Thanks so much for joining us here today and every Saturday. We really do appreciate it. So in the meantime, we love you and please stay safe.
Here we go.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.